What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson, and we are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is a place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate business into a life of freedom. We have the Volpenator. We've got the evil bald ninja himself, Gene Volpe, is here. We're going to be talking about all things tech and real estate. We're going to talk about some of the developments with Facebook. There's something going on with Amazon Alexa. There's some other stuff. We've each got some tools and tips and tricks and tactics and all kinds of stuff, fun stuff to talk about. So anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Before I bring in Gene, my esteemed and illustrious colleague, I'm joined by the junior grandmaster himself, who's channeling Barry White apparently today, Mr. Froggy. What's up, Greg?
What's up, Johnson? No, it's not that bad, but this is what you're gonna get all show. I woke up my throat hurt yesterday, and I woke up this morning. This is like the warmed up version of what I'm being able to push out to actually talk today.
So this is your best of the day. We're catching
this is me at the peak. This is me at the peak of sexiness. But I'm excited. Gene is gonna drop some knowledge bombs on us. Matt and I are both exhausted to the core. I'm like sliding into home base like at a senior citizen pace, just trying to pull out the rest of this week, and then I'm done.
Wait, so what did I miss? What did I miss?
We will talk about that off air, and I will tell you exactly what I went through this week. And I did something that I never thought I'd ever have to do in business, and I had to do this in business this week, and it has really put some stress on me on multiple different levels. Seriously, I don't want to talk about it on air.
Okay.
But
I thought there was like party and speaking engagements involved.
Well, there is in my head every day. I mean, I'm always a party, but not to Matt though. Matt doesn't let me live my true life. He suppresses my inner fun.
You know, it's funny. I told somebody this the other day because they had what they thought was a great idea, and I asked them a couple of questions and gave a little bit of my perspective, and they thanked me for it afterwards and said that was really good. And I'm like, well, thank God, because sometimes I feel like I'm the idea squasher.
In the podcast, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
Matt, we should totally do this.
Mm-hmm.
No, Greg, it's a horrible idea. Okay. Matt, what about this idea? No,
yes.
Greg. Well, Matt,
which is
this
fine.
idea?
You got to understand that I do that to myself, right? Like, I know that about myself. Like, for every 20 ideas I have, 19 and a half of them are going to suck. Like, that's the deal, right? The problem with Greg is that Greg externalizes. Greg externalizes all 19 and a half of those ideas to me. And so I have to shoot down 19 of them to find the one pearl of goodness. But Greg gets upset at me for shooting down the 19 because Greg wants to do all 20 of them.
You soul crusher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Actually, we could do a whole episode on focus. Although the three of us may not be the best ones, the best shining examples to talk about. So let's welcome in Gene Volpe himself. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? How are you?
We're doing well.
I'm kind of excited that you guys are like down in the dumps, and I'm loaded for bear. That means I get some talk time today.
You do get to
be a narcissist.
And we're excited to have you talk because you have many, many good things to say. And sadly, on our Friday episodes, we're not able to give you the space that you so richly deserve.
Oh my God! Are you like, what's the word? Are you chastising me right now?
No, actually, that was a little bit more of a fluffer job than I would have preferred to come across. But yeah, so I'm gonna stop blowing smoke directly up your ass, and I'm just gonna let you talk for a minute. So what's been you've been keeping your eye on a couple of things, both with Amazon Alexa. You've got some tech things to talk about. So where would you like to kick it off today?
Yeah, well, I think right now let's talk about the Amazon Alexa. So if you've been paying attention for the last day or so, and I know I can already tell by what Greg was telling me and the sound of his voice, he has not been paying attention because he's bogged down with other things. But so you guys didn't see this article yesterday about how Alexa recorded a private conversation between a couple and emailed it to their friend in Seattle?
What?
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, whoops is right.
Wow.
So all right, so let's go back. So a couple months ago, maybe a full year ago, there was a case, like a lawsuit that came out where, and the details on what actually happened, the crime that was committed is a little murky. So don't hold all this against me if it doesn't come out right. But there was a murder at a party. So there was a party, like a house party going on. Apparently a female was killed at the party. The way that the story goes down, I think, is everybody had left except this one lady and the guy that was throwing the party. They were there together. And the next day, she came up dead, basically.
Oh.
And what ended up happening was somehow the cops got a hold of this guy's Alexa in his house. And they wanted to get it into court and have Amazon release the audio so that they could possibly tell if something took place at the house, if Amazon was listening, if Alexa was listening. So sort of like, do you remember the iPhone thing, that they wouldn't unlock the iPhone for the terrorists, that bombing, I guess it was maybe Boston Marathon? So they were going against the Constitution and the amendments, and they took it into court, and the court ruled that Amazon didn't have to release what was on their device or in the cloud, right? So then the next piece was, is this thing always listening? If it is always listening, where's all your audio going? Is Amazon storing it? So it becomes a huge privacy issue, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a lunch yesterday with a bunch of agents, and we were talking all things tech at the lunch, and before we left, I said, if you don't think your devices are listening, you're probably crazy, because they are, and I can prove it in a couple different ways. Just do a Google search after you have a conversation with your mother-in-law, right? And these things pre-populate. You see it. So think about an Amazon Alexa, right? You guys have them? You have the Google Home or the Alexa?
Dude, I have the Google Home right here, and I just reached over and muted this bitch. But I have shut up, bitch. But I also have Alexa. But I have Alexa's in the storage center.
All right, so watch this. I don't know if you guys can see this, and hopefully this doesn't backfire. See how my phone is black right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Google.
Oh.
So you see how I wake it up with my voice? That's the same thing like for Alexa, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in order for that to know, I just said, okay, Google.
Listening to you.
It has to be listening, right?
Yeah.
So is it listening to me all the time? And if it is, what are they doing with that audio? So have you guys seen, after this big Cambridge Analytica thing came out, they started to send out links to where you could find the data that Facebook and Google have on you? Have you seen these?
No.
All right, so I'll send you some links after the show. The data that they store on you is scary. We all know it, but when you see it for yourself, it's pretty wild, to the point where I can go through my Google searches over the last X amount of time, and so if you're in your car and this is connected to your thing, you know how let's say you're driving and you respond to a text via voice, I can go into your timeline and play it and actually listen to the voice recording from your Google stuff.
Really?
So it probably is hard to visualize when you're sitting here, but basically they're recording your voice, and I can go back 25 days or however long and listen to what you said, your voice replying to a text message or asking for driving directions, right? So yesterday it came out that a husband and wife team were having a conversation in their house, and apparently Alexa picked something up and somehow sent it to their friend 175 miles away in Seattle. So they get a call from their buddy saying, turn all your devices off. This is what just happened. And she said, prove it. And he told her about the hardwood floor conversation that they were having. And she was like, oh, my God. And they shut all their devices off. So they went after Amazon. And Amazon's now saying there was a mix-up. Google the article. So if you Google the article. So I guess where I'm leading this very long, drawn-out story into is where do you draw the line in as much as you are okay with all the things that Amazon and Google give you in return for the fact that it's always listening? Are you okay with that, or are you not okay with all of it? Some of it's okay. Like, in other words, people go, Facebook's always taking my data so that they can sell that to advertisers, right? The flip side of it, though, is that they're targeting you as a person of interest for certain ads, which means you don't have to actually sort through the crap ads that you don't care about. They've done enough recon on you that they know what you want to see, and so they don't have to show you what you don't want to see. So I'm okay with that. It's saving me time by me giving my data. So I guess where's your trade-off, I guess, is where I'm going. So I know I just blew that out, so give me your thoughts.
I mean, as long as they delete my porn search, I'm fine. But everything else they can have. I just did that just to see if I can get Matt to pinch his nose.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a whole Man Show bit back in the day that Adam Carolla did, which was all about like an insurance policy for guys, this is back in the day when your porn collection was a physical thing, to where if you died, they would come to your apartment and clean out your unmentionables. It just reminded me of that. Like Greg needs an insurance policy where somebody comes in a white suit and a hazmat suit and just takes his laptop and leaves with it if something untoward should happen to Greg. But anyway, no, that's I mean, the interesting thing about this is that, and I mentioned this on a recent show, is that it's funny because we're creating the expectation so much that when we do see things like ads, we're getting used to the level of sophistication in certain areas, that when we run up against the lack of sophistication in something else, it actually is jarring, right? So when I get ads on a less sophisticated platform like, let's say, Spotify, where people are buying ads for the mass audience and like everybody gets the same ad or something like that, it drives me nuts. And it's so jarring because I'm getting used to the display ads from Google and companies and Facebook and things like that being so tailored to what I'm searching for, that when something comes on, it's like baby diapers. Like, it's almost offensive. It's like, how dare you?
You hate stupid ads? Is that what you're saying?
35-year-old single man and never married, no kids. How dare you show me an ad about diapers? I think
the audacity.
Baby diapers.
Right. I want to see ads about Macallan 15 and travel deals in Thailand, not diapers.
Why?
So yeah,
why
Thailand?
Matt? Why Thailand?
I don't know, because it's an exotic travel destination. Sure. Okay. Anyway. But point being, like, it is interesting to see how things are progressing, and then you combine that with things like chatbots. So if you look at what's happening in chatbots in real estate, I think the potential is there for Alexa to take the place of an ISA, and you are talking with Alexa about the home that you want. You're describing what you want, like, hey Alexa, show me all the homes in Sunnybrook that are 3-bed, 2-bath, under $200,000. And then just send me an email or send me a message with a link to each of those houses so I can look at the pictures. Like, I don't think we're really that far off from that day of Alexa taking the place of like the initial stages of a buyer consultation. No, I mean, and at this point, we're about 2 years away from Amazon being able to say, great, can I set up a showing for you, and I'll have the door ready to go and unlocked when you get there.
Well, they're doing that already. There's a company out of Emeryville that's really starting to take place in multiple different states where they have these are vacant homes only. They'll set up GoPro cameras all around, and then they'll text you a one-time use code for the lockbox, and then you can go in and do a self-showing to different properties.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely coming down the road. A lot of people were talking about the fact that with technology, we'll just use Alexa, or Google or whatever system you want, is the fact that, some kids, that's going to be their first word is Alexa or Google, because their parents are consistently saying this around them, and they'll have a relationship with that device on a consistent basis because it gives them everything that they want. I forgot that I could take my iPhone and say, hey, blah, 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 here, call so-and-so. The damn thing will do it. And I think that we're becoming numb to the idea of technology being so embedded into us that it's just normal for it to be there. Like, I was out hanging out with one of my friends on last Friday. We were having a couple of drinks and we were laughing. She's like, I want to do podcasting. And I'm like, well, let's do a podcast. And the long story short, I heard back in 2012, I thought it was, one of the major camera companies, but it was Google that bought the patents for contact lenses with built-in cameras that learn your blinking patterns, and that can then do facial rec, filming. It has night vision. It has all kinds of basically super soldier capabilities, and they're beta testing it. We're a couple of years out from that, but I fully believe that I would sign up for one of those things in my eye in a half a nanosecond, because my memory sucks when it comes to people. Like, who's the bald guy with the beard? Bald guy with the beard? Bald guy? Gene Volpe. But as soon as it facial wrecked you, then that would be like, it would come across Gene Volpe, all the information in there. And
like the movie Anon.
Yes.
On Netflix. Yeah.
Exactly
where it has a heads-up display. You pass somebody in the street and it brings up their name and their social profile right alongside their head. Yeah.
Or right along that. Now,
that was a hard movie. That was a hard movie to watch. Just the amount of information. It was fine. No, the movie was good. I'm just saying it was actually visually it was interesting because the augmented reality stuff like I feel like we're in the generation that we can't process that as fast. Like I even notice it with Instagram stories. Like the stuff flies by so quick sometimes that I like when somebody takes like a screenshot of a post and then writes something like that over it, like it takes my brain too long to process it. I'm like, what am I looking at? And what am I supposed to be reading? And what's this over here? And then this bright splash of color over here with some writing. I'm like, what the fuck is all this stuff?
Just look at the big words and colors. You'll be fine.
I know, exactly. I can already feel it like accelerating to where like beyond where I'm at right now, which is it's a nice, fun feeling of being old, Gene.
Why'd you go to me? What is that?
Because I'm looking for you to jump in and make me feel better.
What is that all about?
Old, Gene?
That's right.
Yo, at least he didn't go ugly, Gene. No, well, you know what's funny? I mean, I'm with you on that because I actually have gotten real friendly with the Instagram live pause button. You know how to do that when you hold your thumb on it?
No, what's this now? So all right, so you're watching Instagram stories.
Yeah, and if you just put your finger on the screen, it pauses it.
Oh, nice.
What?
Okay.
So, I do that for the same reason. It's like I'm trying to take in everything that's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Are you just testing it?
Yeah, I am.
But yeah, it's so.
That's
now,
interesting.
they probably took it away this morning, right?
All right. So what? So we've got a couple of tech tools, and now that we've speculated on the future, and we've decided we're all going to be out of a job in 5 years, let's speculate on what we can do to drum up business in the next couple of years. So let's talk about some tech tools and tips. Gene, let's start with you.
Well, wait, you led me right into that. I wanted to talk to you about Adobe Creative.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adobe Capture.
And I have an Adobe product to talk about as well.
Oh, cool. So they might merge. But before we get into that, can I talk about something? We just kind of go back to something we said.
Gene, you can talk about anything you want, buddy.
Oh, thanks. I don't want to step on your toes.
This
is not.
Show.
This is RU Live, baby. I got nothing to do with it. But no, you were talking about ordering that stuff from Alexa, right? Like where you can get the you're going to be able to do house showings and stuff and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Did you see like over the last 2 or 3 weeks they did the Google Con and they did the actual live phone calls between Google Home, the Assistant, and different businesses?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you missed this?
I've seen something online about it, but I didn't watch it.
So now there's some people saying now that it actually may have been more staged than they let on, because when they showed it, it was the CEO of Google on stage showing them how their assistant is now making live phone calls on your behalf. So the one was like, make me a hair appointment at the XYZ salon, and they play the phone call between the Google Assistant and the person answering the phone at the salon. So,
what?
And it was answering questions off the cuff that the salon owner was asking, like, oh, we don't have a 5:30, can you do a 6:30? And and it sounds real, like it's weird, it's scary. But that's totally where we're going. I mean, we're going to a place where I'm going to wake up in the morning and say, these are the 10 things I need to do right now, make them happen so I can roll over and go back to bed for another hour. And my phone calls go out, and my appointments are made, and all these things are happening while I'm sleeping. Yeah, look.
No more prospecting calls ever again. Google, follow up with all of my prospects. Back to napping.
That'd be great. Listen, if you could trust that, if you could trust to know that, like, you know, your hour show where you do all that cold calling?
Yeah.
Imagine if you could do Facebook Live cold calling while you were out golfing. And you come back and there's 4 new leads because your Google Home just made all these phone calls and tricked people into thinking it was a real agent.
I would. So with that, would you think there'll be anything that will come down the pipe for robocalling on that? Would that go into the robocalls? Because it is a robot calling, but it is a one-off calls. I mean, but honestly, I mean, if that is a realistic thing that can happen, no offense, Veronica, but you're fucked. No more ISAs, She's probably right now cursing at me in her
Oh, jeez, Veronica's saying STFU. Yeah. You see that? STFU, Gene. Listen, from what I can tell about you, Veronica, there's no replacing you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a whole fallacy we have, and we've had it for a long time. Like anytime there's an industry where we feel like it's going to be replaced by machinery, automation, robots, or just flat out eliminated, we all have a panic attack about it. But guess what? We don't have telephone operators anymore, and nobody died. They find
the telephone operators.
They learn new skills, and they find other things to do with their lives. My mom used to be in the steno pool at Mutual of Omaha. She's not doing that anymore either. and it's because she figured out something more valuable to do with her skill set, which is exactly what we will all do. So,
Right.
like, if we have that instance of Gene of like all the things that we kind of take refuge in doing, like scheduling appointments to get our hair done or something like that, things that we have to do now that we kind of fill in the cracks. I mean, imagine the freedom of not having to do that. So you talk about like the person on the receiving end of that phone call from Google. I would rather there not be any human involved in that transaction. There should only be one human, and that's me telling Google to schedule me an appointment, and Google schedules it with their automated system, and there is no human being involved. Therefore, I can just communicate directly with the hairstylist, and I can show up when I want to and get my hair cut, and there's no receptionist, and I have no human assistant other than my, you know what I'm saying? So that's the ideal. And then those people that used to be personal assistants can go out and do something more valuable and make more money.
You know what? I would have no problem with that. Honestly, I would have absolutely no problem with Google setting everything up and then me just showing up and doing it's like being a surgeon. Do you really want to prep the room, prep the tools, prep the patient, then sedate the patient, then do all the prep work, cut the skin, and then finally get into where the heart is? Do the couple of moves you need to do to save this person's life, and then you have to finish up the whole surgery, or just come in, glove me, I'm done, and I'm out. I mean, how much more? Think about the effectiveness. Well, there'd be a lot of abuse of this, I can guarantee that. But
that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
The problem becomes the first day that house that you were talking about gets opened automatically, and the person that goes in there burns the place down, right? And it's always great until something. The Tesla driving cars and the Uber driving cars was great until a biker got mowed down. Then all of a sudden it's like,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is it safer than the alternative? The question is it not safer than zero? Is it not? There is no such thing as absolute 100% safety in anything.
Sure.
Like one of the least safe things we can do is get in a car and go to the grocery store. Like we're more likely to just get into a simple accident with other human beings doing human things than we are getting on a plane, a space shuttle, any other form of like regulated transportation. So if you look at like automated cars, we're going to have accidents, but is it safer than what the alternative? Idea, the expectation is yes.
But here's the problem: you're looking at it like a rational adult, like I would. But then you have people on the other side of the fence that are saying, and this is actually a rational.
Yeah, but the only bad thing that can happen is just if there's just a few more irrational people that get into government that set regulations that stop technology from moving forward. That's the hit. Like technology is going to keep moving. Yeah. The problem is just if they just shut something off from happening because they're afraid, and they get a hold of the mechanism of government, which is the only one that can stop technology from moving forward. That makes sense.
They try to. I mean, Chris, my business partner, dude, he's like almost nearly competitive cyclist, right? He rides all the time. So many of his friends have been hit by cars or killed by humans driving cars. One of our lenders that we use, he was in the Peloton. They were all riding in a city called San Ramon, and the guy, a couple of people in front of him, kept going. A Mack truck just splattered him, and it was all because of a human error. Which in like my Jeep, the SRT, that damn thing knows when I'm looking at the road or not. And it yells at me. If I get too close, it goes, brake, brake, brake. And it puts on the brakes for me. And I'm like, bitch, I am looking at the damn road. So I know that thing's watching me somewhere and keep making sure my eyes are on the road. So
interesting. Screw that. Yeah, how dare it?
No, actually,
it's
all. But when you get used to it, it's awesome, right? Because my car does that too.
Yeah.
And
this is a terrible
steering wheel shakes when you're driving over the lines.
Yeah. The first time that happened, I'm like, fuck, I blew a tire out. What happened? I just got the damn thing.
Yep.
But once you start learning how it works, and you understand the beeps and the buzzes and the jiggles and everything else, all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's just talking to me. It's using its language to talk to me, so that both of us get home in one piece.
Can we please just have an R2D2 in the back seat of our Jeep SRT? That's really what we need. We just need a droid. Just like I don't need all the other stuff. Just give me a droid that will steer and fix things.
If we're gonna have an R2D2, we have to have a Princess Leia. There is no substituting a Princess Leia.
I think that's just good science.
That's the premium plus package.
That's right. All right. Adobe.
Yeah.
Don't bring up her name. She's dead. She's dead.
Yeah. She's not dead.
She's dead.
But she lives on in the 1977 classic. All right.
This is true. True story.
In the swimsuit.
Adobe.
Like this. Bring it back.
Yes, I'm reining it in.
Adobe Capture. All right. So.
Okay. So. Give us the 30-second version.
A 30-second version is this is an application that's made for your phone, for Android and iPhone. And what it does is when you download it, it actually you can point the camera with the app open at something, right? At something that you want to capture colors off of or text. So I'm going to try to find something here.
How about the champagne bottle back there?
There you go. Sure. There we go.
Hey,
okay,
hey, whatever, yeah.
So you point the camera at it, and it basically is able to pick out the colors and the font, the text type, and tell you the hex codes on the colors. And if this is a font that you like and you want to use it, it can give you suggestions for the font that looks like. So, from a marketing perspective, if you have, like, say you got Keller Williams Red, let's say, just for argument's sake, you can. I know. Listen, you're going to get your time in at the end. All right, GVI Media Blue. How about that?
Yeah. So this is Adobe Capture, right?
Adobe Capture. Yep.
Okay.
And so I pointed here. If I go, I want this on all my brochures. This color has to be this color because that's part of my motif, right? I put the camera on it, and it'll actually find this and tell me the hex code on it so I can send it to my marketer and match that color up as well as give me suggestions on the type of font that they're using for the actual lettering, right? And it also, going to your point, Matt, about another Adobe, apparently this works in conjunction with the Adobe Creative Suites.
Nice.
So you can,
that's awesome. So you can tie it into everything through Adobe Bridge, I'm assuming. Very cool. Yep. I love it.
Kind of neat little thing. I thought it was cool. I don't know how many people will use it, but it's certainly cool.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say if you're aesthetically minded and you like paying attention to what's out there, and yeah, absolutely, I could see myself using that. I know for sure my designer would love to use it because I'll send her something. I like this, and she goes, "What's the font?" I'm like, I found this on Pinterest. Like, how am I supposed to know what the font? You're the designer. You tell me what the font is.
Yeah.
But up until now, they've had to just like scroll through a million fonts and find something that was like similar enough. So yeah, it's actually surprising that we haven't had this a lot sooner because you think you'd be able to scan it in and then just match it up with stuff. But so I'll throw mine out there real quick. It's Adobe Lightroom, which you can actually get as an app on your phone, especially if you already have a membership to Creative Suite, which is $50 a month. So I was talking with my designer about Instagram and just what's the best app to grab photos and then put custom filters on it and things like that. And she told me Lightroom. So there's stuff like Snapseed and free and other low-cost apps. But if you already have Adobe Creative Suite, just go grab Lightroom because there's some great, really, really phenomenal options and a lot of things that you can tweak within there that are better or higher quality than other photo apps because it's from Adobe. And the number of presets in there, like the quality of the presets are really good. So yeah, I've been enjoying tinkering around with that.
Doing it right now.
So David has a good question actually over here on the side. Aren't you concerned about the industry completely being taken over by AI, and we just become employees of a bigger company instead of being in control of our industry? Well, David, I'm sorry to say that, but you read Inman, there will be an article published very soon by one of our past guests about how in California they are making a massive move, if not already have moved, to make every real estate agent a W-2, not a 1099, based upon labor laws. Which has scared the crap out of me and Matt when we heard about it. I mean, that's
it's absolute insanity.
Insanity.
I mean, here's what is most likely to happen. I think in the short to medium run is if somebody enters with like a big technological innovation that they own, someone like an Amazon. I think the first thing it cuts out is I think it knocks the legs out of the industry as a part-time viable option.
Well, that's what they're talking about. You have to do like a minimum of like 50.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about like that's like we can't account for the government coming in and just passing horrible legislation. But really what that ends up doing is entrepreneurs almost always find a way around government legislation. It just costs us more money and it's a pain in our asshole. But we find a way. Yeah, asshole. That's my there. That is my opinion of the Affordable Care Act and all the regulations that came down with. I mean, why do you think nobody has full-time jobs anymore? It's because in order to have, if you want to have a business that has more than 25 employees, you have to provide health insurance, and you have to do it at a level that's approved of by the government, which is way higher than what you'd give on the free market. So that's just a quick example. But anyway, going back to like the industry as a whole, like evolved from the fact that real estate agent used to be just something that you did like on top of other things that you did, right? Like late 1800s, early 1900s, nobody was a full-time agent. I mean, there just weren't enough deals around to even do that. So our whole industry evolved out of it, almost like being a notary. It was something that you did on top of like being a lawyer, being a, whatever, wealthy landowner, man about town. You know what I'm saying? So our whole industry evolved from this idea of being part-time and the commission structure being set at such a level to make it worth it to do it part-time on top of other stuff that you were doing. So I think that may go away. And probably will go away. The people that will be left standing, I don't think we're all going to be employees necessarily, but I do think the people that are most likely to be left standing are the people who have the skills to take listings and do real estate full time. And I think it'll cut out the people that don't have the skills and don't have the mentality to do it full time and have been doing it part time up until now, or making a part time income and putting full time hours. You know what I'm saying? Because they want a lifestyle business. I think that's the most likely to go.
Potentially. I'm trying to find this article right now and put it in the
Dean,
notes.
what do you think?
Yeah, so while you're finding that article, I certainly have thoughts. Craig is saying here,
I'm glad you have thoughts.
I just. Craig is saying gets rid of a lot of part-timers. If you think about the industry, right, and I'm certainly looking at it from an outsider's view because I'm not a licensed agent, but this stuff is cyclical. It happens all the time. Think about what happened in 07, 08, right? How many real estate agents went out of business in 07, 08 when that crash happened, right? Because what happened? The market got tight. The best ones survived. The ones with the funnels filled were prepared for a down market. Like all this stuff happened, and guess what happened? The 2 and 3 time Bettys and the part-time Steves all had to bail because it wasn't paying their bills anymore. And that's going to happen again in the next market that goes down in 11 years from 2008 or whenever that ends up being, 12 years. It's going to happen again. So it's almost like a self-fixing scenario with real estate agents. This technology that you're talking about is no different than that. It's just coming in a different form. It's gonna weed out the ones that can't keep pace with it and that don't know how to deal with it, but the ones that can take advantage of it and exploit it are going to flourish.
Yep, 100%.
Well, it might take out a lot, like you said, the part-timers. It might not be a bad thing, and no disrespect to part-time agents. I think that might be a helpful thing on two fronts. One, for the industry when you have people that don't know what they're doing, and two, for people that they aren't fulfilled in this business because they aren't seeing the success, and then that's why they do it part-time. They can use their skill sets and go do something that's more fulfilling for themselves. So it could be mutually beneficial, but at the exact same time, it will be a hit to the business. Everyone's going to throw their hands up. Everyone's going to freak out. Everyone's going to lose their marbles. But you know what? If the government comes in and did a 20% tax on your income, you'd lose your shit. But then you know what? You figure out how to adapt and move forward, like Gene just said. So
we'd figure out how to pay less taxes.
Yeah, right.
Not always the game.
Or we'll leave California, one of the two.
That could be the catalyst for a lot of people just picking up stakes and being like, fuck you, California, we're out of here. We're going to go down to Texas where they actually want my business, or go to Idaho or Nevada or anything else. I mean, shit, Casey, my lender, lives in Incline Village in Nevada. He's like a frog fart away from the California state line. But he's a gun nut. He has like 20 or 30 guns. He can do anything he wants. He can go four-wheeling whenever he wants. He's got a lot of low taxes.
I think your Alexa just emailed his address to the FBI.
We have a gun owner. Yeah.
That's right. All right, so we got Nathan's watching. He says, I think part-timers are being pushed out now with the lack of inventory. Like you said about listings, the one who have the skills will prevail. I think he's right. Yeah, I think we're probably already seeing the start of it. We're not in a recession, but we're definitely feeling the effects of how we've dealt with the recession, which is all the money inflation and all the government regulation. All this stuff that we've done has created this environment where we have artificially high demand because we have low mortgage rates historically, and so there's all kinds of buyers that want to buy. But now we're struggling to provide them with enough homes to buy. There's not enough sellers to sell. So yeah, I think in the absence of, like, when listings are hard to come by, it does tend to force out the part-timers. So anyway, I mean, it really all comes down to, can we market ourselves in such a way that people think of us first? Do they think of us when they come to listing their home and not just buying a home? Very important. Can we add value to them in between their transactions? And stay in touch with them so that when the time comes that they are ready to list, that we're the natural ones, and we come across as the marketing expert, not some part-timer who can go open the door for them on the buy side.
Interesting.
I don't think Greg heard anything you just said.
No, I didn't, because I was texting. No, I didn't. I'm like, someone please step in, because I am completely drawn to zero.
You went like this. That was awesome.
Blank tape. Fascinating conversation there.
Yeah,
Tell me more about that.
Yes, exactly. Go deeper on that last point.
Explain that. I want to understand your point of view on this. Yeah,
exactly.
I need just a little bit more recap and then go further.
It's like a bad date. You're just totally tuning out the other person. God, that's fascinating. Still, tell me again, because I wasn't listening the first time.
That's right. Different strokes. That's good.
Baby diapers.
Good time.
Baby diapers.
Well, big gulps. See you later.
I'm just going to start naming off 1970s sitcoms. Yeah. Good times. All right. So
you just did it right there.
Exactly.
Just did it.
Let's see. Okay, so let's take a question here real quick. This is a good one. This is from Kayla Lee. This is in the lead gen description objections group. It says, so I need some solid advice. I'm an ISA and I'm working towards getting my license. However, here's my issue. When you call your expired or FSBO on the initial call, do you ask for a listing appointment or do you ask to view the property? I'm hearing a lot of different approaches. Some say go for the kill. Some say nurture it. So, Greg, what say you if you're not texting? Thank you.
I don't really try to go for the kill. I try to nurture, but I also read the situation. If you can ask a couple of questions, but I mean, I always try to do the nurtures on stuff, because if they just flat out say, hey, look, I need to sell this thing, let's go. Well, okay, well, I'm coming over and let's do this. But if not, nurture, build the relationship. I'm a big fan of that. It's like sitting next to the hot chick at the bar. You're not going to try to stick your tongue down her throat after saying, hi, my name is Greg. That's not going to work out so well.
We really could have done without the sound effect on that particular example.
Wow. It makes it more real.
Yes, it's very, very visceral. Thank you.
Why do the viewer counts all of a sudden plunge? It's so weird. Nose pinch. Hey-ho. But yeah, no. Gene, I mean, what are you going for? You're more of a nurturer. You're a marketer. So would you nurture or go for the tongue down the throat?
Yeah, I am a nurturer, but I got to caution. I mean, I know how much business. I shouldn't say it that way. I know I lose a lot of business because I am a nurturer, and I know that my follow-up procedure isn't as tight as it needs to be. So if you're going to be a nurturer, make sure that you get something a way for you to keep that communication line open so that you can continue to nurture them until they're ready for the kill. Does that make sense?
Yes, and this is why, whether we call it a podcast, whether we call it a show, whether we call it a platform, like whatever you want to call it, I would say the generic term for what we're doing right now is we're on a platform, right? Real Estate Uncensored is a platform. It's our stage to speak to our audience, and we do it consistently over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Because it nurtures the relationship. And yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about. If you're going to be a nurturer, and a lot of people are, or you could say they're a farmer as opposed to a hunter, the secret of the farmer is in the consistency. If you have an inconsistent farmer who likes to sleep in a lot and drink all night and sleep all day, guess what? He's going to be a very poor, starving farmer. So if you're going to be a farmer and you're not going to go for the kill, then you have to back that up with methodical, relentless, consistent follow-up. And the best way to do that is through what we're doing, which is a platform, right? Have a marketing platform, have a way for people to interact with us on a daily, weekly basis. Whether it's Facebook Lives, whether it's a podcast, whether it's Instagram stories, like whatever it is, I think we all need that thing, that basis. Like that's kind of the floor. Like that's the floor of our follow-up. And then we have stacked on top of that, then we have personalized outreach on social media. And then the level above that is personalized outreach by phone to the people where we have that kind of relationship and permission to be able to do that. We talked about it on one of the last shows, Greg, just how people are using social media as a shield to keep them from uncomfortable conversations. And I think that's one of the key things that we'll see that's only going to get worse over the next 10 years is we're going to start using Facebook and Instagram to shield ourselves from having uncomfortable conversations where we have to turn away a salesperson. Like we don't want to have those conversations. We're setting up our social media so that we don't have to, and we can just interact with people there. And then if you pass that filter, then we'll give you permission to do like a phone call, a video call, an in-person meetup, right? So now we have to live in this world where we build all the relationships and do all the nurturing and stuff like that on social media just to get past that filtering mechanism so that we have the permission to have a higher level of personal contact with people.
Yeah, I think in
That's my
the future,
Absolutely.
I think our social media that we have now is going to be archaic. I think VR is going to be a massive influencer in everything that we do. I think that a lot of parents and a lot of people that are, saying that social media, we're hiding behind it now. I mean, these are the good old days, because once we get more technologically advanced, the human interaction level, like I almost guarantee you, are going to come to a low level, because we'll have our avatars, we'll have, our virtual reality. We'll spend a lot more time up there in the perfect body, in the perfect house, in the perfect life, than coming back down to where we are today and having to deal with who and what problems we have. So I think
here's the good news. Here's the good news, Greg.
Body from heaven. Yes.
Virtual real estate agent.
Oh, that's true. The way of the future is EXP.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, we'll actually be selling virtual real estate. Like in Ready Player One, like we won't be selling a space in the mobile home that you sleep in. We'll be selling, we'll be selling.
It's a modular unit.
Electronically
Thank you.
built. All right, I got you. It's a modular. Okay. It's not mobile if I took the wheels off. No, I understand. Thank you, Greg. But it'd be interesting to see if there's a shift, like if we do have virtual reality, if we end up being virtual real estate agents and we're selling virtual buildings and virtual planets.
Yo, you want me to jump on that? Because I got something.
Well, they already exist. There's already virtual real estate millionaires in like certain like massively multiplayer worlds like World of Warcraft and stuff like that. There's legitimate millionaires, right?
Oh, no question, but that's not even the route I'm going. You guys are look at Greg's face. What do you smell over there?
No, I'm just like they have virtual millionaire agents in virtual games. Like, this is real money, or this is just bullshit?
People who have made millions of dollars selling artificial virtual real estate in games, online multiplayer games. Yes.
Yep. Lost me on that. Okay.
So wait, all right. So are you guys doing following any of the cryptocurrency stuff, Bitcoin, any of that stuff?
I have blinders on. I know nothing. I see nothing.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put this out there because I saw it. I think it's a fascinating thing, and it may go right into the ground, or it might change the way real estate is done. And Greg, I'd love to get your take on this because there's so many questions that'll come up. But basically, there's these ICOs that are coming out, and that's like an IPO for a stock, an ICO is for a coin.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy these tokens, and one of the ones I came across, and I'm not in this, so if the feds are watching, I have nothing to do with this. I really don't. I just love watching it.
Wait, you don't have a link for your latest like a crypto MLM that you'd like to promote?
I do not. I promise you. I don't. But here's an interesting element of it. So this company, what they're doing is the concept behind it is allowing anybody across the world to invest in United States real estate. Okay. So knowing that, here's what they're offering. So today, let's pretend today you own a house. It's worth $100,000, and you own it outright. There's no notes against it. In theory, you can go and get a home equity line of credit or a loan against it, use the cash or lines of credit against your home, and then make those payments over a period of time. So let's say I have a $100,000 asset. I go get a $50,000 home equity line of credit, and I can use that to buy a boat and make payments against the $50,000, right? They're securing against the equity in my home, right? You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great play in a lot of cases for certain things that you need to do. Listen to this one. What these cryptos are doing is they're allowing you to sell your equity to an investor for cryptocurrency. But here's how it works. I can go out and sell a percentage, and I think it's up to 49% of my equity to a firm somewhere that wants to buy those tokens off me. So I can get that $49,000, right? But I don't have to pay it back. They just own 49% of my home. So when I go to sell it, they get 49% of the profits.
So it's lending in advance with no downside.
Well,
yeah, it's turning homes into a joint, like almost like a business partnership that's banking on the continued equity growth in the home.
Right. So in other words, my play on it is if I'm the investor, if it's worth 100 grand today and I'm holding it for 15, it'll be worth 200 grand, and 49% of 200 grand is double what it's worth at 100 grand. So,
yeah,
but I think
risk.
What's that?
The risk there is the fact that, like, so we know we're going to have another downturn in the marketplace, right? So the investors are buying an asset right now and making the assumption that the profits are still going to go up. So let's say we tank again. That means I walk out with $49,000. It goes in half. Now it's worth $24,000. They're stuck holding the bag with me, but I got all the upside because I got my money out. My downside, my loss of equity, I don't fucking care. I made the $49,000. Yeah. The other ones that are out, $24,000 of equity.
Yeah, listen, I think like any investment, it's certainly a risky thing, right? But if you play it worldwide and even nationwide, if you're in the right markets and you're doing your right research, like so for Philadelphia during that last downturn, Philadelphia had way less of a depreciation because of how it's situated than the rest of the country. So if the majority of my holdings are in Philly, I don't get hit as hard, and I need to wait another 4 years for it to come back. So I don't think
this is really not an advertisement for the horrible city you live in. So let's move on.
Oh my God! Wow, that's a hit.
I don't even know what I did to deserve that. I'm just
that's like a left hook you didn't even see coming.
We love you,
hey,
Philly.
We're friends.
We love you, Philly. Okay.
So you can see how that's. So Veronica said, terrible idea. Not if you're 78 years old.
Look.
You know what I mean? Or
yeah, it depends on who it is. But think about if the guy, what's a horrible idea? Because, the bottom line is when you're going into this as a partnership, at least you as the investor are doing your due diligence, and there's a human being making that decision on whether that house, they're betting on that house going up a certain amount in the time that they want to see their money back. Yep. What's a terrible idea is the government coming along and going, hey, we'll lend to anyone, and we'll approve it by a computer, as long as it meets these guidelines. And, oh, by the way, we're going to guarantee that whatever losses you suffer, put it back on the taxpayer. Guess what? We get 2008 crash, right? That was a horrible idea. Right. So it's interesting because these trends and these developments towards helping people get into a house by supplementing their down payment or offering to go in on, or taking out their equity or something like that, like turning that house into a business partnership between the investor and the person who's making the payment is probably closer to the way things would have gone if the government hadn't gotten involved and started guaranteeing mortgages and started encouraging banks to slice and dice them into these packages. Like go back and think about the way it was in like the 17 and 1800s when we had like the Society of Friends, and other like mutual benefit organizations that people would pool their money and then they would build a house. You would help your neighbors build a house, and then you would put then in return they would pool their money and they'd help you build a house, right? There were all these little corporations that were springing up. Like this is really just kind of getting back to that trend.
Yeah,
very Amish of you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm feeling very Amish today, Greg. I don't know why.
Where's your hat and your crazy hair? But it's like, that's the way things used to be. Fuck, man, I barely even know any of my neighbors. I know my crazy Persian neighbors that get naked in the windows, and I still think they're plotting to kill me. And it's nothing in Persians. It's just the first time I tried to kill his wife by accident and knocked her in the head with the elevator door, and she's never forgot. She still won't say hi to me. But it would be interesting in society that we first have to get to know our neighbors, and then we would be able to go out and help them. And I think that's a thing that we've all lost a lot is the lack of connection. A lot of the calls that I do, people will say when I'm calling them, well, I don't even know my neighbors. I don't even talk to my neighbors. I don't even do this. I don't do that. And that's the sad part about it. In your guys' opinions, do you think that with that mental mindset in the future and the way we're going forward, do you think that we're going to completely lose touch with humanity? Do you think that we're going to stop just being people and we're going to be avatars of ourselves, both online and offline, to the point where we just don't talk to folks that much? Communication goes down?
Are you saying me and you or people in general?
People in general.
Yeah, I think so. I think technology is making it easier for you to avoid everything that you need to. But the people that actually enjoy networking and communication and the touch and feel of real humans and the smell and it's never going to go away from me. I'll be out and about all the time hustling.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife's like, how do you know everybody? I'm like, because I'm in everybody's business. I want to talk to you. I want to know about what you're doing. I want to hear how I can help you. Let's talk about the latest bottle of wine you had. Like, I can do that on social media to an extent, but that's not really how I roll.
Well, that goes to show how Matt doesn't pick up phone calls and he just wants to text. So Matt and I had this debate the other day, and it was about how we're booking guests. I remember this distinctly, and you're probably gonna be like, "What the fuck?" But it was about how we can book guests for the show. I'm like, dude, I'll just give Caitlin the guy's number, and you can call him. And Matt looks at me so seriously. He goes, "No, Greg, no, it's not gonna work." I'm like, "Why not?" Because not everyone's like you. They don't just call random people. I'm like, "Why not?" No, we will email them, and they will get it set up. I'm like, "I want to just pick up the phone." "No, Greg, that's not what people do." I'm like, "Pretty sure they do, but this is not the hill I'm going to die on, so whatever. We'll move forward."
I'm just telling you, from someone who actually fucking supervises people, that's the way it rolls.
Yeah, but if you're a hermit, that's the way it rolls too, right?
Sure. Dude, it's literally in the whatchamacallit, my dream that the document that I go over every morning that lists out like my dream lifestyle. Let me just read you a selection.
Oh God. Should we drink
hold
for
on.
this?
Do we have music?
Yeah.
We need music.
Let's see.
No, not that kind of music.
No.
Sorry, wrong mood. And Veronica says, when it comes to people coming together, no, people still need sex unless it turns into an awful Stallone movie. Then we're good.
That's right. Yeah. No, nobody wants to see that. The only good part about that was Sharon Stone, and they could have cut out the rest of the movie. All right, yes. So here's the passage that I am referring to. Quote,
seashells.
"I enjoy having absolute control over who I come in contact with every day and limiting my use of the phone to only short, scheduled outgoing calls and in-person meetings that I choose linked to projects that excite me." That is on my dream list.
All right, Howard Hughes.
That is the way that I choose to live my life.
Well, I feel very honored then. I'm not going to lie to you.
I enjoy not talking to other humans.
That's Greg. No, we got to redo that.
Here's the deal, Greg. This is why I have no interest in my neighbors, because it used to be that we were very like homogenous. We all looked alike. We all believed the same things. Like America was not a very diverse place in the 1800s. So your neighbors were a lot like you. You went to church together. You went to the same general store. You ate all the same stuff. Like it's not the case anymore. Like, I don't have anything in common with my neighbors other than the fact that we happen to be within 10 yards of each other because California has no side yards. Thank you. But other than that, I have no affinity with. I don't care what they care about. I don't care about their kids. I don't care about anybody that they care about. I don't care about what they're watching on Netflix. I don't care. We have nothing in common other than they're just.
He is single. He is single, ladies.
That's right. Single file, no fatties.
God.
Thank you, Barney Stinson, for that line. Single line, no fatties. But anyway, but here's the deal. The thing is that like there's an explosion of choice, and now thanks to social media, we can connect with the people that we have much more in common with, rather than just geography. To me, that's a good thing. That's not a negative. I would rather spend my time with Greg and Jean on a video call than spend my time with the person who lives right there.
There's just two thoughts that came to my mind. It's so funny. You ever see Sebastian Maniscalco talk about how the internet, now you can, back in the day, if somebody wanted to sit in diapers in his basement, grown men in diapers, you could be in your basement, nobody would know. Now with the internet, there's 800 of them down at the Hilton at a conference. And the other thing, you know what I mean? And he said, now I'm also thinking, like, you're going to be fun to grow old with. Like, you're like
I'm
my
be
grandfather
awesome to grow
now.
old with. Yeah.
Wait, you're like my crusty old grandfather now, and you're 35. I can't wait to see what that looks like in 50 years.
I always say I'm like whatever age I am, 35 or whatever, going on 70, and I've been like that since I was 7 years old. Yeah.
I love it. I hate people. I don't like the smell of things. The sun makes me irritated.
So my ex's nickname for me was Grumplicated.
Yes. And it fits you perfectly.
It does.
Grumplicated. Yeah, hashtag Grumplicated. Oh my goodness gracious.
All right, Gene. Hashtag. Let's lock this one down. This was a lot of fun, but we have wasted people's time enough for the day. So, Gene, how do people reach out and connect with you if they so choose? Besides moving next door to you, of course.
Don't move next door to me. Luckily, I'm on an N unit, so there's only one house there, and I like my neighbor Pete. So, how do they get in touch with you? GeneVolpe.com, man. Just get to the webpage. There's a nice little widget for you to contact me. Phone number, emails, all the stuff is there. My Facebook, GVI Media, however you want to do it, but GeneVolpe.com.
All right. Good
nice. Deal. Still no
Greg,
jingle. Still bummed out
team.
about that.
Yep, for the team.
Guys, if you can see my ugly mug right in front of you, go to bookmcdaniel.com. We can talk about joining our EXP team. We have a Kim Kardashian ass of goodness. It's all squishy and lovely of content. We have masterminds. We have trainings. We have all of our products. You're going to be put into Hank Avic's 36 to Life. We're going to connect you with, send out cards for $97 a month. That includes all your stamps, all your cards, unlimited sending. We'll teach you how to waste time on Facebook and make it worthwhile, actually, and make money for you. You can book time for Matt as much as he is a curmudgeon and a shut-in. You can actually book time with him and do 15-minute stints. If you do 16 minutes, he'll hang up on you, but 15 minutes, he's okay. About strategy and team building, but then you can just book another 15 minutes the next day, and then another 15 minutes the next day. So you can get like 45 minutes out of him. It's really ingenious. And Matt, you can do one-on-one coaching with me. Matt and I put out a link if you're part of our EXP team on Monday mornings that give the availability through Calendarly on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Do a one-on-one coaching call with me at zero cost. And then we have a podcast product that Matt is working feverishly on to get done, so that we can help you guys create your own podcast. Don't shake your head at me. And then, of course, my job is to put 50 people on your EXP teams within 5 years or less. So we have the people there, guys. Oh, Matt, you don't even know this yet. Mike T, who's our homeboy with Instagram, he is part of our EXP family, and he has a company that helps people, launch and expand their Instagram accounts. Guys, he put 4,500 people on my account in 2.5 months. Are you shitting me? He will give you he'll give you that technology for free for 1 month. Then after you guys have gone through it for 1 month, there's a way to stay keeping it free for life. But there's one action we need to take, and we can talk about that when you guys sign up. So that is what you do to contact us, Matt.
Cool. All right, and then a couple thank yous real quick. So first of all, Jeff Cohn in the live stream program, that is part of the benefit that you get when joining our team, but you can actually get it standing alone independently, whether you're an agent or whether you're a team leader. If you're in between that phase where you have some agents, you have some buyer's agents and stuff like that, you need to get super high quality training into their hands, but you don't have the time to do it. That is a great situation to check out live stream. Or if you're an agent who wants to plug into one of the top teams in the country and get some of the best agent training that we've ever seen, that's another reason to go check it out. So it's at eliterealestatesystems.com. Just click on live stream and you can watch previous live episodes. They're super high def audio video. It comes out of Jeff's like 50,000 square foot office in Omaha. And it's the actual training that they give to their agents. And you can plug right in, you can interact, you can watch it live, you can participate and be there just like you are live there with them in the room. $17 a month, super cheap. And then just quick thank you to Wise Hire. Great way to find great talent for your real estate team, whether it's admin or sales, where they match you up with the disc profile and tell you for the candidates that are coming into your job positions, whether they're a good fit, great, excellent, for the disc profile that you are advertising for the position that you're putting out there. So that way you don't waste your time with people who are not a good fit for the role that you want to fill. So that's Wise Hire. All right, gentlemen.
Very good stuff.
Yeah.
So guys, if you want to book time with Matt, you can call him at 402-881-63. Ooh, there's only 2 numbers left, Johnson, and then they will be out of the bag. Oh, what are those other numbers? Who can crack the code to call the Johnson face? That is the question.
I don't know that anybody can, because Greg, you have not formed a code. You're just speaking you're giving an incoherent series of numbers every time you're on the show. So I
actually have your card right here with your number on it. So I actually wasn't.
No, I have no doubt that you know the number. You just haven't given it out in any specific way. So
no, I have not.
Code breakers, have fun with this. All right, guys. First of all, thank you for sharing the show. We love you guys for it. What's going on? Why are you pointing?
We need a color when you get done.
We need a color. Well, Gene's here, so we have to have an orange bow tie to wrap up the show.
Okay, but finish your sentence. I cut you off. Right. My apologies.
That's right. We love that you guys share the show, and thank you. Thank you for sharing it with your fellow agents. Guys, if there's anything of value, especially in this one, tag somebody in the Facebook comments to have them watch all the silliness and fun that we had speculating about the next steps in social media and technology and all that fun stuff. would be awesome. We would love you forever, and we may actually call you or do something random to thank you for it. I don't know. We'll figure out something. But
Matt will drop in and take any of you ladies out on a date. His expense. Don't you worry. Only the best food and wine for this man. So if you want to be treated like a princess and a queen, Matt will take you to dinner.
Greg is really committing a lot to this.
I just love to see what I can commit you to.
So between, I don't know, it's gonna be hard. You've committed me to a lot of like flying in and washing people's cars for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. So either I will wash your car or take you out on a date. Apparently, if you leave us a rating and review on iTunes. So we'll have to come up with what else I'm going to do. We'll do a whole series on where's Matt. What car is Matt washing right now?
Oh my God, this is gonna be so much fun. All right,
shall we?
Hey,
let's wrap it up.
All right, Matt, give us our color. Give it again so that we all know.
Yes, it's orange. Orange bow tie.
All right, guys. Gene, you're a legend in all of our minds and yours. Matt, you're always a ray of sunshine and joy to have. You're Howard Hughes inside, I guarantee you. We wonder where he went, where he's reincarnated in you. I love you guys, though. Big old lovable heart right here. Actually, it's the other side. But there's a big heart right here.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that looks wrong.
Greg has a congenital heart disease. It's on the wrong side.
That's how big his heart is.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Oh my God. Anyways, all right, guys, go do everything we've suggested. Listen to nothing that we say, and just know that we love you. Until next time, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.